I am currently recording. So,
Mhm.
hello everybody. Welcome to Current Events. Uh, my name is Derek Brewer,
I'm Samantha Burkhouse.
and I think I can speak for most of us when I say that one of the most current and most pressing events is the coronavirus, because it's impacting all of us, especially with these sort of stay-at-home orders. And I think that really complicates a current issue that we have really that's like a prominent issue, which is homelessness, LGBTQ youth. And this article that we talk about sort of explains that a little bit more deeply and a little bit more of like the ripple effects and other things that sort of are impacted by it there. So this article sort of focuses a little bit at first around Nez Marquez, who's just a member of the LGBT community. He's homeless due to his family's lack of support for him. And in New York, there's a shelter for homeless members of the community called Sylvia's Place. It's basically just like a it's like a group shelter just in the church basement somewhere, and the operation is being threatened due to the coronavirus because of all of the social distancing and like what businesses are classified as essential versus non-essential. And this kind of thing has like large scale effects that ripple throughout and might not even be completely like wiped away once coronavirus is kind of less of a problem.
So I have a bunch of important statistics here. I'm not going to go through each one, but basically to sum it up, LGBT adults make up about 4.5% of the adult population, um, but LGBT individuals make up a lot bigger share of the homeless population and face a greater risk of homelessness. So there's about 260 community centers directed towards LGBT people across the country, but a lot of these are closing or reducing their hours. LGBT individuals are also more likely to live in poverty. They face worse economic strain, and in many states, there's no protections against LGBT discrimination.
So one of the major things here is like the housing, how there is often a lot of discrimination based that's like rooted in them being a member of the LGBTQ community, like a lot of extra discrimination and things that like regular homeless shelters and community centers like don't always offer sort of the same protections. So that's why there are a lot of like specific shelters for LGBTQ youth. Um, and not as what like housing itself is a problem, but there are still other problems and risks and things that go along with it. Like it's really hard to find hygiene products, and they don't have private rooms for sick people. Um, and a lot of the problem is these are really like densely populated sort of shelters. So keeping people to adhere to social distancing at 6 feet is really problematic and difficult. And people are like communities and like things like these aren't able to accept donations because of the risks. Like you aren't even really able to, I mean, like I'm where I am, they don't really accept like trash, like excess trash that doesn't fit in like the cans that you have outside. And you can't really donate things just due to all the contamination and how the virus spreads. So food banks and other shelters like this are really struggling due to those kinds of things.
Um, so with healthcare, a lot of LGBT individuals rely on nonprofits, but a lot of those places have shut down or they have reduced hours, and medication's also an issue. A lot of LGBT individuals, I believe the woman they interviewed in the article said a third of her clients are living with HIV. They need daily medication, and she's worried about them not being able to get it. And like Derek said, a lot of places can't accept food donations. A lot of centers are still providing food and groceries, but only at certain times and are otherwise closed.
And this is another thing that we talk about, just kind of touching on pretty much with every discussion, is like the mental health impact of this. Through some of like the readings that we've talked about this week, we know that LGBTQ youth often struggle with a lot of mental health thing like problems, especially due to the rejection from family or for like lack of support systems or social isolation due to like abuse they may receive. And the fact that these like last threads of hope that one may feel in these community centers or in these shelters is kind of being taken away from them is really starting to, people are seeing a sharp increase in people reaching out to crisis hotlines. Like the Trevor Project specifically has had the steep increase in the number of people reaching out. And that's one of these things that it's like can really have like a longer lasting effect on people. It's like even if the coronavirus were to disappear tomorrow and things could attempt to become somewhat normal, a lot of these long lasting like problems that are seen throughout the community and through like these support systems really might not go away as easily as one would want them to, you know. And I think that's kind of where it all really leaves off. Just like, I think it kind of leaves off in a really interesting way. Like, we're all still in the dark about a lot of these things. And the article kind of leaves us off a little bit in the dark. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. None of us really do. And I guess that's kind of the prime opportunity to just like take inventory, I guess. Like, say I love you to your family, call some people, kind of be thankful if you have these privileges that not everybody has. So, thanks. Sam, do you have anything else you want to add at all? Kind of went on a tangent there at the end.
I guess just to kind of tie it more into politics in this class, the things that need done to address this issue um, are things like putting discrimination protections in place in states if possible, making sure relief bills address specifically homeless shelters and LGBTQ community centers and can be applied to them as well.
Yeah, and I think like some sort of federal backing or like funding for those kinds of things to like ensure that they still are able to run even in times like this is really, really important. Just we're struggling to sort of keep people alive, and I think that's really the problem. But we're still trying to figure this out. Personally, I think everybody's trying to figure this out like on a larger scale, but uh, stay tuned, I guess. So, all right. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.